Hello, Monika. Welcome to today's interview. You have been a member of the Strong Waves Club Premium for a little bit more than 4 months now. I think you joined beginning of June, when I recall that correctly. You
Correct.
have gone with us through your fat loss phase, are currently in a reverse diet, and you have had some amazing results on the way. That's why you're here today. And I would love to know what has actually brought you to the club. What made you join back then?
So I think ultimately, let's put it this way, I was consuming content around body transformation for a while, probably since late, like late 2023,
Hmm.
because I think I have come across that phrase of, look like you lift. So basically, someone was saying, like, you're working out and putting all this effort, but somehow your body doesn't reflect that. And that got me quite interested. And I started listening to different podcasts from coaches who were specializing in uh, body transformations and body recomposition. Um, and then I sort of toyed with the idea of doing coaching, but wasn't quite, committed. I think I was mainly scared of becoming really rigid. Like it all sounded extremely overwhelming and overcomplicated, and I just couldn't comprehend that I could be tracking macros and that I could in any way restrict myself. So
Uh-huh.
I put that on the back burner. But then, I in early 2024, I started tracking my foods just to see, because I've heard about all these macros and just to see what the profile of the food that I was eating looked like.
Yeah.
And obviously I had like different formulas, how much protein you should be eating, how much carbohydrates and how much fat you should be eating when you're trying to lose body fat. And that was vastly, vastly different, what I was eating to kind of match that. So it's
What
like,
was
oh, okay.
what was the biggest difference?
Oh my God, fats by,
Yeah. Okay.
so basically like I was just looking through some of those early logs of my food tracking.
Mm.
And I was eating, so like my protein was varied between like 90 grams to 195 grams per
Hmm.
day. My carbs were usually like below 200 grams, so like between 150 to 200, but my fats were like between 90 to 180. Like, um,
Big range.
yeah, big range, but also like very consistently, I would never have less than 100 grams of fat.
Yeah.
And that was mainly because I was not just like being, you know, if I had a porridge in the morning, I wouldn't just put almonds or just peanut butter. I would put almonds, I would put three types of seeds, I would put 25 grams of peanut butter on it. And and I also wasn't very aware of how much like cooking oils or cream I was
Uh-huh.
adding to my mainly cooked meals. So anyway, and then I came across your podcast and your content, your account on Instagram. And I don't know, for some reason it resonated with me, but it was also, I don't know, maybe you were more approachable than other coaches. And I remember I decided to book the call with you, or somehow we managed to get the call
Yeah, we had a
going.
chat before that, I remember.
Yeah. And I just thought like, I think I need a little bit more support
Uh-huh.
with the more structured fat loss, because I tried to reduce fats and I did lose like 2 kilos of like between March and June, but I was like, no, I wanna get real results. I wanna really push it as far, just to see whether I'm able to do it.
Yeah.
Uh, and I knew I needed some help and accountability.
Yeah.
chose you guys to do it with.
To jump on, to take the leap. Although first you
Yeah.
said, as you said, beginning of the year, you were kind of in this transition phase of, do I really want that? Will it be like, will it restrict me in some sort or shape, shape or form? Do you say that? Is there a word, a phrase? What made you then be like, I want to try? But because I think there are a lot of women out there who are in exactly that spot of like, kind of I want to have that like next level and see like what's possible. But on the other hand, like, do I need to change up a lot of things? Will I have to cut out all my favorite foods? What made you like jump in and try out and be like, okay, let's see what this is all about.
Well, I think once I realized that I was overeating certain foods, under eating certain foods, uh, I I realized that it is a little bit about just tweaking things in
Hmm.
certain way. So to get to like at first I thought, oh, I will be hungry if I reduce, like if I go into a calorie deficit, I'm going to be hungry. And the idea of that, you know, did not agree with me at all. Um, Coming from, a background where, food was just all this fun and enjoyment and
Yummy.
life
Yeah.
social connections around food.
Yeah.
Um, and, when I sort of thought, because I've never dieted before and I heard of people dieting and it just seemed like so controlled. And I just thought, okay, well, if I really wanted to lose some weight, all I have to do is maybe reduce like the amount of treats I have. But
Hmm.
I didn't think about this whole matching my training and with the nutrition.
Hmm.
So, um, I just thought, okay, like how about someone teach me or I learn about how to tweak the things I eat to bring the proportions into kind of better optimal um, picture. And, you know, and what I was most surprised with was that when I did that, I mean, part of it might have been just, when you're in fat loss, you have that mindset of not trying to have treats. But I was so surprised how my body just stopped craving the things that I would previously crave. That it was satisfied with the amount of food that I was getting, and the cravings just weren't really an issue.
Mm. That was just my next question. It was like, what surprised you so far going through that process of leaning out and going through that fat loss phase for the first time ever in a very structured way?
So, yeah, what surprised me was how much food I was still allowed to eat. The fact that I could have 5 meals a day, the fact that, I was still consuming I was lucky enough that I had enough of that calorie budget
Hmm.
to not feel like I was restricting myself massively. So that surprised me that you can actually diet quite sustainably, that it doesn't have to be drastic. Um, what else surprised me? Um, what surprised me now, the fact that as I was writing in my post earlier, that I can't really remember anymore how I used to eat before. Like
Uh-huh. It's
that's,
fading away.
yeah, like I had to really, like, when I was looking at those logs, I was like, this is just so random.
Uh-huh.
Like all these different foods. Because I think, I was just constantly looking for that energy to go in,
Yeah.
but without thinking about how it's structured.
Hmm.
So there must have been like lots of smaller things. Um, but yeah, like the fact that that one period of dieting created so many habits that now seem to become a second nature.
Yeah.
Um, so that is quite surprising. Also, the fact that that I don't miss the old ways. Like I thought, once I come out of fat loss phase, I'm just going to go mad on on all the cake out there.
Yeah.
But yeah, now I'm finding that, and I'm still trying to figure out whether some of it is that kind of control over, oh, I don't want to, like, I'm so happy with the results. I don't want to
Hmm.
lose those results. And how much of it is actually my new attitude in general to
Hmm.
eating and nourishing my body with stuff that is genuinely worth putting in.
Yeah. I think that's definitely something you will probably learn in this, like as you learn so much going through your fat loss phase, this what you talked about, and seeing if those habits, like certain habits, are sticking because you genuinely want to do it that way, or if it is because you have now this structure. We will see. We will see how everything will develop from now on. I do see that oftentimes that kind of, having that structure on one side, but then also bringing it together with being a bit more flexible as calories are going up again, you're getting back to your maintenance calories, that finding that sweet spot there is where the magic happens, and where you are then like kind of cruising,
Mhm.
where you then also can have more treats here and there, but you will still be able to keep the results because you always have this little structure where you can come back to.
That's right. And
And
the other thing that really surprised me was how how safe it feels to be in fat loss. And now that I'm in reverse and I'm trying to increase the calories, my brain kind of finds it really hard and almost like, I see myself and my meals slowly, like the calories again started creeping down a bit. Um, I, yeah, like I find it really hard to find the foods that would uh, make me hit the new calories, if that makes sense, and the new
mhm,
macros. Uh, so yeah, so like finding myself with really low fats and calories that are not quite there. So, what has calories and fats? Oh, maybe a treat,
maybe a chocolate bar.
but then my brain is like, no, you can't have a chocolate bar. That's just silly, right? Um, so yeah, it's like you're in reverse, you're allowed to eat more, but you still want to be really good,
Hmm.
as in, good in quote unquote.
Hmm. You don't want to just like eat only the croissant and the cake and the chocolate
Yeah,
all
yeah,
day long, and filling your plate with that, but you want to keep kind of the nutritious foods that you had in a fat loss phase that keep you also healthy in a healthy place.
yeah.
Have you before you joined, have tried any sort of training programs, stuff like that? You said you haven't done coaching because you were not like super committed to like go all in. But have you bought any kind of programs before that, or joined any like forums, free communities?
So I haven't joined any communities. I have followed a lot of coaches and a lot of sort of personal trainers. I was designing my own workout for a long
Mm-hmm.
time. I had like a one PT session a week, but it wasn't very much. Yeah, it was almost like it wasn't following a particular program with her. It was much more metabolic conditioning, like lots of single leg work with dumbbells, but
Mm-hmm.
not have no heavy lifts. Um, and then I did. I did get like a 15-week program that I think just before joining um, Strong Babes Club, which I have done one phase, and it was kind of more like a hybrid athletic training. So it was
Hmm.
both strength training and a bit of cardio. Um, but I would say I was familiar with the training intensity, so I was taking most of my sets to failure,
Hmm.
at least on upper body um,
We can see
work.
that. We can see that with your delts popping.
Yeah. Whereas with lower body, I guess, I wasn't doing as much squatting and deadlifting. Well, I was, but again, I think it wasn't possibly optimal. And again, I don't think I was definitely not progressing on a weekly basis, and I wasn't doing the training blocks. So yeah, the structure wasn't anywhere near like the program that I follow now.
And what is like besides the program structure from the training side of things, what has been like the biggest difference in the other programs or the stuff that you have tried before joining?
So definitely rest periods. Uh, and so I feel like before I was just doing a lot of junk volume, so a lot of burning sensation um, and whereas yeah, I guess I wasn't feeling ever confident about training with lower rep ranges and
Hmm.
going for that strength. Um, so obviously coming from like reformer background, it's a lot of high reps and muscular endurance and going through that burn.
Hmm.
Uh, so I felt safer in that 10 to 15, maybe even 20 range rather than, you know, 6 to 8 range. Um, yes, rest periods. Uh, also, so I was doing a little bit of upper body split before, which I found a little bit too fatiguing
Hmm.
because I wasn't observing the rest periods. I was probably putting too many exercises together. Um, so like the, I do like the full body um, training split because, going from lower body to upper body in a training session just gives me a bit more variety.
Hmm.
And um, you know, it's not as taxing, I think, on my nervous system as doing, you know,
Lower
just
body
lower
only.
body.
Yeah.
On yeah.
And
Did
besides
that answer the
the
question?
Yeah, absolutely. So that's kind of for the training side of things. And then what has been additionally to the training program that you receive from us, and that is more structured and where you're progressing really from one phase to the next, also going to like lower rep ranges. What has been your favorite part of the club?
Apart from the training or
apart
within the
from
training?
apart from the training, I mean, we have you. I always see that when new ladies are joining, it's kind of like, whoa, you have like so many things going on here. We have the daily calls, the monthly wrap up, the growth games, the challenges,
Yeah,
the
yeah,
whole
yeah.
content, educational stuff inside the classroom, the community itself. What has been something that really made like what's the glue for you that is like keeping you inside of this club? Why do you like to be part of it?
So obviously, apart from, having the community, it's a very engaged community. So it's lovely to exchange comments and, that whole aspect. Everyone is super supportive and invested in that process, which is great. Um, like just going through that fat loss and reflecting back on it,
Hmm.
it feels like such a high and then, when it ends, you're like, or after every challenge
Yeah.
ends, you feel a bit like anticlimax. But
Absolutely.
but what I really, really like about the community is the definitely the coaching calls and the speed with which you answer our questions and queries and respond to posts. Um, it just feels like it is, even though it's a group coaching, it feels like it's a very much individualized approach from you guys, and it's really much appreciated. So I love that, and obviously the vast amount of education that you provide and the learning content that's already in the classroom. That's great. You can always go back and revisit
Mm.
that. Um, and yeah, and I love the training plans. I I like the fact that I don't have to think about it. I
Yeah,
it's there, and you just basically execute, and you know that it's the results speak for themselves, right?
absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, we had the group coaching call yesterday, and Tracy was like, "Oh my gosh, when I grow up, I want to look like Monica." That was kind of her message because I mean, you have a great physique, and now going through that fat loss phase lately has definitely also revealed some juicy muscles. And I'm very, very curious to see what are the next steps and the next phases that are coming for you because you also decided to join us for a whole year. So you upgraded to the annual plan, which makes it great to plan the next phases and the next 12 months of your transformation journey. What do you have in mind? Like what are your do you already have some things you want to work on? Do you want to go into a building phase? Do you want to cruise on like maintenance? What are your thoughts?
So I'm moving from November. I'm going to move to do the Power Lady training program. So I feel like I want to continue growing my lower body,
Hmm.
especially glutes and maybe a little bit more like hamstrings and quads. Um, my upper body, I would happily like not grow anymore up there, although, so maintaining the upper body. Uh, and because I'm 42, I would quite like to maintain my power and maintain my cardiovascular health.
Hmm.
So although I can't see myself like becoming an endurance runner or going into any of the sort of endurance events, I would quite like to keep that nice base. And I'm aware, I have to introduce some sprints intervals or higher intensity cardio um, and maintain my fast twitch muscle fibers. So that's why I wanted to um, maybe reduce the sort of strength training elements,
Hmm.
uh, but introduce more like metabolic health type stuff and maintain my physique.
Yes. All of that. I think you will love the program. I just started the program and it's exactly that. So focus on the lower body, maintaining the upper body, and then having the cardio aspect of it, putting everything nicely together, all these different puzzles, which is just great to follow and not think too much about it as you said. So I'm
Mm.
very, very curious to hear how you would like that, and what are your experiences with moving from hey, I focused now on like fat loss and more the strength training aspect to doing more or being also again more flexible with your nutrition while still maintaining that kind of structure that you have created in the last month or the last year. I mean, since you started to track your food and take that into your hands, but then also adding some more flexibility while maintaining on high calories. I mean, you can eat a lot. You're moving a lot.
Mm.
That's
Yeah.
that's definitely one reason. What would you when someone is very new to all of this, and I mean, we get oftentimes like overwhelmed, or it's that like there's so many things to pay attention to. You said like, hey, my first it was my nutrition, my macros, like the foods, then the strength training, now the cardio, the power and plyometrics and all that kind of stuff. So it sounds like, whoa, it's a lot of work. And so many areas we need to actually work on to create a specific physique. What would you tell someone who is pretty new to that? Maybe what to focus on first things first to build that kind of, foundation. You said the other day, like priming yourself for future success and a long-term transformation journey. What would be your advice to a newbie?
Um, so I think first thing to I would I would consider is to not try to compare your journey with someone else's journey, especially when it comes to uh, time frame or thinking that I have to do the same things as this person to achieve what I can, because ultimately, we all have different amount of time, we have different lifestyle or like life stage. Some of us will have small children and there'll just be, some of us have desk jobs, some of us like you have to work within the parameters of your life, and then do the best that you can within that. Then the second thing would be, it is hard and it is overwhelming at first, uh, but you have to really decide that you want to do it, and
Mm-hmm.
that you are going to fully commit to it, uh, and do the best you can. Otherwise, it's kind of it will be easier to fail, and it will be easier to choose to, stop doing or um, you know, get off the wagon. It will be much, much easier.
Yeah.
Um, and then obviously, yes, as a first thing, I would focus on just start to track as best as you can. It doesn't have to be super accurate, but again,
Mhm.
just see what you eat and then compare it to your macros that you eat to what's like good body composition macros should be, um, like for an average Joe, and or maybe already, for someone who has done the calculator for the maintenance
Mm.
macros. And then I would just see whether like you can slowly start tweaking your meals to try to reach those macros that are closer to what the ideal ones should
The
be.
target.
Uh, yeah, the target ones. Um, and if you think, oh my God, like, then another one would be to uh, learn, about the sources of carbs and the proteins and the fats. That goes a little bit with the tracking. Um, and then you could, yeah, add all, when I say tracking, first, you can just do like things that are easy to track. Then you can start adding the recipes and also starting to tweak the recipes. So, for
Hmm.
example, you know, one of your family meals, if you notice, like, oh my God, that whole recipe is like really high in fats and doesn't have a lot of protein, then just see how you can reduce the fats and increase the protein. So it is playing a little bit of a macro Tetris,
Yeah.
but it's within that priming session of this is like your learning experience
Mm.
before you decide, okay, like I'm a bit more ready now um do it with a bit more accuracy, with a bit more commitment to, okay, now I will start reducing the amount of wine I drink on a weekly basis, or I will maybe not have, 2 bars of chocolate a
Yeah.
day, but maybe just half a bar of chocolate a day.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
it's just like those small changes um, that I would recommend.
Because I mean, what we see very often is we want those fast results. We want to, and most of the time, like especially fat loss is top number one goal. It's like reducing body fat because we rarely see women who are in a place where they're like comfortable gaining weight. Not even because they are having so much to lose, but because it's just scary to get to the place of I will now build muscle. So the first idea is always, hey, I want to lose body fat first before doing anything else. And I totally get that. For me, it was also scary to think about gaining when I didn't like mastered yet how to reduce my body fat in a strategic way. So only by doing that, I felt comfortable like gaining weight because I knew like, hey, I know, when it's going in the wrong direction, I know what to do to cut back. But what do you say to someone who's kind of, has that impatience? I see impatience always being a topic of 2 weeks in, and they never tracked before, but they want to lose some weight, and they're like, how long does that take? What do you say to the woman that is impatient with getting the results?
Oh, I can hear you now again. I lost the connection for a second. What would I say to someone who's been doing it for
Impatient.
2 weeks and is impatient? Well, yes, that is fat loss is definitely a great lesson in being patient. I would, yeah, just recommend that you completely, if possible, detach yourself from that process and yeah, put on that mindset of a robot and focus on execution, 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 execution. So whether it's the steps, whether it's the hitting the macros, whether it's the sleep,
Mm-hmm.
uh, just focus on the individual uh,
Non-negotiables.
items,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
yeah, non-negotiables, and definitely look at the trend rather than the daily fluctuations. I think that was the biggest lesson, that when you start weighing yourself every day and you see the scales going up and down, like 600 grams, down 200 grams, 800 grams, we all freak out. And this, like, we are so attached to those digits. And because we want to see the trend of them slowly going down, ideally every day, 100 grams less. Um, but it just doesn't work like this. And although it's incredibly frustrating, it's just how the bodies work. So
Mm.
the more weeks pass, also, yeah, fat loss, like time and fat loss seems to be stretched so much,
Stretched, yeah.
right?
And it's and it's
It's
and
like
it's
on,
more and
on,
it's more so stretched when we don't have an actual, start and rough ending date. It's even more stretched when we don't have kind of the idea of how long do I want to commit to that. So this is the case for so many women who are not going into a fat loss phase knowing how much they want to lose, knowing about the weekly rate of loss we are targeting, mapping out kind of the phase. So then it's like double the chewing gum of what actually the fat loss phase is. What has been your specific weight loss during that fat loss phase? It was a bit more than 4 kg, right?
So it was actually, so I started with, let's say, 66.1 and I went down to 62.3.
3. Okay.
So almost 4 kilos,
Yeah.
um, which doesn't seem like that much. But then equally, I was doing it over the summer and I was away on holidays for 3 times, um, where I was not able to keep to my macros. Uh, so every time I would kind of go backwards and maybe that's why it took 17 weeks. Um, but equally, yeah. And also like I felt like I didn't see a lot of um, progress in my progress pictures.
Hmm.
But obviously, when I look back, um, I, the progress and the result is undeniable. Um, but yeah, it was tough. It was tough to kind of not see, drastic changes
Yeah.
in the progress pictures. Because again, we often forget that those progress pictures that we might see on internet, they are 24 months apart,
Mm.
or more. Uh,
And oftentimes also progress pictures from completely different phases. Because
yeah,
if you, for example, compare end of fat loss phase picture with an end of building phase picture, and the glutes are like huge, it's like, yes, because there's not only like more muscle gain, but also more fat gain. And so it will look different. And so what I always like to say is, having those pictures, those weekly pictures or monthly, whatever you're taking, just having them at different like body weights is great to compare them over the course of years, like looking back and seeing like, hey, I had the same body weight here, but I like my body composition completely changed. It's like kind of differently shaped without being super shredded or, at the end of a fat loss phase in all of those pictures. So I think this is also great to see those pictures as not only to put them next to each other week by week and see like, yoo the drastic changes, because there will not be so drastic changes on a weekly basis, but more keep them as a reminder or of your progress, of your journey, to see where you have been. Because I remember I don't have that much progress pictures at the very beginning of my journey. I didn't like to take pictures of myself, so I definitely skipped that. But yeah, I really can't wait to see where your journey is going. If there will be a next fat loss phase where you will unlock the next level, not doing it through summer season, obviously. So taking a break now from the fat loss, a couple more weeks, reverse. Then you're starting your Power Lady program. Curious to see how that goes. Also, how you manage to incorporate more taste bombs and see how that feels, and if you maybe like that, or if you have just built throughout those fat loss phase different habits that kind of stick with you now. Can also be the case. I'm curious to see how
yeah.
that goes.
At
Um,
the, yeah, the, at the moment, I'm still treading very carefully,
yeah, yeah, yeah,
but
yeah.
but let's see. When I first, my kids like have been begging me to start baking some cakes, and I'm like, oh, you can't maybe baked oats, and they're like,
Maybe baked
no, we
oats.
don't want banana bread or baked oats. Just bake us a proper chocolate cake.
The real stuff, the real
Yeah.
juicy stuff that's yummy. Yeah, totally get that. I think you should try that out. We have soon, soon is holiday season, Christmas time. So maybe you give it a go and see how you like that. If you like that, I've seen personally, it was a like transition time of like craving that stuff more, but then at some point it was really like, I mean,
Mm.
I really don't I really don't crave that much. How do you say that? Um, Calorie dense but not so nutritious food. I don't want to
Mm.
say bad food or you know treats, but just not so nutritious foods. And just because I just feel better with the nutritious food that I'm having every day. It's just when you kind of experience the difference, and especially
Mm.
going through a fat loss phase where you need to pay attention to eating more nutritious foods to be, with the calorie budget that you have, to make every calorie, every macro count to your health going to that phase. Yeah, that really makes a difference.
Yeah,
Cool. Thank you, Monica, for the chat.
my
Um,
pleasure.
It's great to have you as a community member. Can't wait to see where everything is going. Thank you for the talk, the insights, the mindset shifts that ladies who are just getting started maybe and maybe feel overwhelmed in their journey need to keep in mind. Like if they really want to do it and level up. And if they decide to then to do the work, and focus on the kind of non-negotiables, the little icons you said, to check off the boxes without focusing like too much on the outcome of
Yeah,
hitting a specific physique. I think that
that's
was the big takeaway. Cool.
mm.
Wishing you a wonderful day and talk to you soon. Bye bye.